Alright, you guys, welcome back to another episode of Holmes Hobbies Motor Control. It's your boy Josh, aka Coleman. I'm behind the camera this time. We're going to do things a little different. We're sitting out at my editing station slash gaming station. And I've got the 10AJK out here, aka the Blue Dream. And this little Axial SEX10 is one of my favorite trucks. It's rocking a Holmes Hobbies BLE Pro. It's got the revolver in it right now. It's just a cool little truck with a lot of control. It's Axial SEX10 based, and if you guys aren't familiar with it, you can just go ahead and scope it on the build thread, the build videos. There isn't really a build video, it's more of an overview video, and I will be doing another one because I get questions about this Jeep a lot, so we'll be going over that again. But for now, what we're going to talk about is the power plant, which is that BLE Pro with the revolver, the new brushless sensored outrunner, and it just is an awesome setup, man. I've been playing with it and just really enjoying it. I did have a few issues with something, and it has nothing to do with the motor or anything like that. It was due to my installation. I had basically loosened up my sensor port on the motor a little bit, and so my sensor wire wasn't plugging all the way in. It was kind of causing a little issue, but I think I got that squared away. It's driving great, and yeah, I put a new sensor wire in there and stuff, made sure the connection was nice and solid, and we're good to go. So what I'm going to do now is just show you guys how I tune my setup, because I get, you know, a lot of people want to know what I do, how I get the control, and when I take this Jeep out, it just does really good for being what it is, you know. It looks like a street Jeep, yet it performs really nice. So let's go ahead and talk about that today. It's a real easy Jeep to work on too for me, so that's kind of why I picked this one. As you can see, the body is mounted on nice and tight. Shake it around there, ain't going nowhere, right? But if I want to take the body off, it's as simple as this. I push the suspension down to where I can grab the lip of this and fold it up a little bit more. I'm trying to do it one-handed, so it's a little tricky right now, but oh, let's see if I can get it off all the way. There she goes. Alright, it's as easy as that, and then I have access to everything I need. Here is my BLE Pro right there, the Trailmaster. Here is the waterproof edition. Here is my BEC up there, receiver right there, and all my excessive wiring all over. And here is my revolver running through a ESP anti-spur styled setup. So real simple, short wheelbase, yeah, homemade sway bar. It's just a cool little setup, man. This rig runs really nice. I like it. So what we're going to do is plug her in. Basically what I do on this one, I'm just going to kind of show you guys here. Here's all the wires right here, right? You can see the red wire sticking out here. Try to keep this stable. See that red wire right there? That is the one that I'm going to wind up unplugging. So that's my my ESC wire. However, I'm using Y harness because everything I'm running in this, the sound unit and all that stuff, extra servos and everything, I use Y harnesses. So that's why you're seeing the extra wires going in there. But it's also running a BEC, so that's why that one's pulled out. So let's go ahead and we'll plug that in and see what we got for a tune. Alright, so I got a screwdriver here I'm going to use for a prop. I take it and I literally just put it right down in here. There's a little spot right down in there it goes into, and then it just kind of props my whole body up like a hood for me, just like so. So now what I do is I grab that wire that I unplugged already right here, get that ready, and then I have my Castle link here for you guys that aren't familiar with it. Oh, see if I can get some focus here. There we go. This is your Castle link, right? This is what you're going to want to use. Mine is bent like so. I have a couple of them. This one's bent like so because it's for this truck. Because when I plug it in, what I do is I'll plug in like that, and that one pin sticks out because I'm using a BEC. And then I plug that one pin in like so. So we've got all 3 pins attached, and we now have a reading. As you can see, Trailmaster Pro, everything's there. Let's go ahead, let's expand this a little bit. I'm going to try to stable the camera, and let's go ahead and go through my settings. Bring this up a little bit. I don't think this is going to help all that much, honestly, but alright, I'll zoom in a little so you guys can see here. So what we do here, we've got all the different tabs that are available. We've got About, we've got Basic, Power, Advanced, Throttle Curve, Brake Curve, Software, Save Print, yada yada. Now, anyone that's ran Castle stuff is familiar with all these, I'm sure. But we're going to go through these and show you the differences and things like that. So go to Basics here. Cutoff voltage, this is how I like to run mine. I run auto lipo, 3.2 volts per cell. That's basically just the factory settings right there. Crawler type, or crawler reverse is my reverse type. They give you without reverse or a with reverse, and then they give you a crawler reverse. I take the crawler reverse, it's the factory setting as well. Power on warning beep, I leave that on just so I know that it's chiming properly and arming properly. My brake amount, I just set to 10%. Really, it doesn't matter because once you arm your drag brake, this is kind of disabled anyways. I have mine set to 10% right now. I don't think I need much more than that, honestly, with all the gear reduction I have. So I turned it down just to be less damaging to the transmission and the drivetrain, the gears, all that stuff if I stop all of a sudden. Let's see, if I needed more, you can go up past 100% to a 213% crawler full-on drag brake, which is pretty intense, man. That's pretty crazy. But for you comp guys that really need that control, that's how you can get it right there. Now we'll go over to the power tab. The power tab has a max forward power. I go to 100%. That's the stock setting on that. It can go as low as 30%, it looks like. Max reverse power, I actually lower mine to 80% just because I don't feel that I need that full amount of power. I mean, reverse is usually just used for short moments unless I'm doing a weird Recon G6 mission. Now the punch control I have set to 0% right now, which is the factory setup. But if I wasn't running so much gear reduction, I'd actually use this a little bit. I'd probably set it at like 10 or 20%. That way if I'm doing a quick forward reverse forward maneuver for some reason, it doesn't slow me down enough to where I can't, you know, pull off the maneuver, but at the same time it will limit the amount of power it throws in immediately just for a split second, just to help save my drivetrain from me being stupid or accidentally grabbing throttle when I'm not supposed to. Now my start power, I have that turned up to high. Now you got to be careful with that, and I'll show you why. Low is the normal setting for bashing, stuff like that. Low is a good one. That's what you should start off with. I have mine set for high just because I'm running the revolver and I'm only doing super slow controlled driving usually with this. So we'll pull up the description here. I'm going to zoom in on this so you guys can see. But basically, this setting controls how much power the controller is allowed to send the motor to start the car rolling from a dead stop. Remember, an electric system is only as good as the batteries powering it. If anything other than low is used with low quality or high resistance batteries, the car may appear to stutter at startup. This is because of the tremendous amount of power cars require on startup, especially the higher kV systems. Now we're running a lower kV with the revolver, but it's still, you know, a heavy truck and things like that, and I want that super controlled low speed. So it says if the batteries cannot supply sufficient power, the controller can reset from the voltage being too low. Now you don't want that to happen in the middle of an event. That would not be fun. So pay attention to this. Low, alright, the low setting description, best for almost any application and any battery type or capability. So low is good for anybody. Medium, good for use along with high capability batteries and light race cars. Also recommended for some slow systems or rock crawlers. High, you must have top quality batteries to get the most from this setting without the car stuttering. If it's set up for high speed, or that's one sentence, yeah. You must have the top You must have top quality batteries to get the most from this setting without the car stuttering if it's set up for high speed. Best used for very slow, heavy rock crawler setups, i.e. this bad boy, heavy, slow. Alright, so let's go ahead and kill that now. Back this back out. Now the torque limit setting here, it has a thing you can click to perform motor test, and if you click on that, it'll give you a whole bunch of information. I'm not going to read all that to you guys, but essentially what this is saying is that you're going to have to run through a whole test. You're going to have to turn things off, pay attention to stuff. You're going to have to watch the lights and see what they're doing. You really need to read this before you do all that. Now, it's not essential for you to do this. But the most important things to know is that your motor is going to spin when you do this test. So you need to have your truck set up properly. You need to have your motor disconnected completely so it can spin at full throttle. It's just some. Be sure to read the warnings before you go performing motor tests and stuff like that. And what that does is allows a torque limit, which you can control the values of, which is pretty cool. If you guys ever want to know about that, just click the description box or the little question mark on the side. It'll pop it up here and you can read all about it. Now let's go on with my settings here. Advanced, we have my BEC voltage. I turned it all the way up to 7 on this one, and when you do that, you can see it throws a warning out to you. It says, you have selected an output voltage greater than 6 volts. This may damage standard RC receivers and or servos. Please ensure that you have read and understand the ratings of the electronics to be powered by this device. That is important, right? Because you don't want to blow up your receiver. You know, if your receiver can't handle more than 6 volts and you throw 7 at it, you might have an issue. So in my scenario, I'm running a FlySky IR4, a FS-IR4 receiver, and an FS-IT4 controller, and they seem to be doing okay. The reason I'm going for those, though, is because I have a lot of electronics on this. I'm drawing a lot of current, a lot of amperage, and it's a heavy rig, you know, so and a high current servo, all that stuff. So I really wanted to make sure that I didn't drain any power, you know, while I'm putting a load on it. I didn't want to go below my standard 6 volts. So I figure if I'm at 7, I'll at least maintain a 6 while I'm putting a serious load on it. Now, that's not going to work for everybody, but that's just what my theory is behind my tuning. The arming time, 1.5 seconds. That's the factory setting. Throttle deadband. I actually go to a large, and the reason for that is because I'm running the ESS1 sound unit. As you can see, I have it chopped up and stuck under there. Alright, so I have an ESS1 sound unit in there, and with the tuning I have done on that, if I run, and with the tuning I've done on my radio, if I run a large throttle deadband, that allows me to rev the engine a little bit before the gears seem to engage, like a real car, as if I'm letting out the clutch and giving it a little gas before the car actually starts to move. And it creates a realistic effect when I'm driving, and I really like. So that is why I do a large throttle deadband. Works really good for that. Now the next setting here, this is the PWM rate, right? This is also known as 18K switching, or quiet mode for some people on the BRXL. This is basically the quiet mode now, or it's known as the quiet mode. If you click on the thing here, you see the description. I'll go ahead and break this down just real fast for you. 8K through 24K, okay? Factory setting is 8K, all right? That's gonna basically mean that your ESC will be loud, your motor will be loud, you'll hear it, all right, a lot. You'll definitely hear the electronics making noise. 13K lowers that sound a little bit, 18K lowers that sound even more, 24K lowers that sound a lot. Now there's a trade-off though, so that's why it's important to read all this stuff here. This setting changes the frequency with which the controller sends power pulses to the motor. With some motor types, key right there, some motor types, the higher the frequency, the more efficient the motor will run, but always at the expense of increased heat within the controller. If you decide to experiment with changes to the PWM, use a watt meter, a tachometer, and a temperature gun to find out how changes affect your entire power system. An increase in PWM frequency will always increase the controller temperature. It may or may not decrease the temperature of the motor. Okay, so you guys get that? It will always increase the controller temperature, which means your ESC will always run hotter if this is turned up. It may or may not decrease the temperature of the motor. So the motor may run a little cooler, or it may run at the same temp, but it will probably run quieter. Not way quieter, but it'll definitely be noticeably quieter. So that is an important setting. However, with the revolver, don't expect much. This motor is just loud all the time. So it does quiet down a little bit with this setting, but not a lot. Alright, let's move on here. Senseless motor timing. Motor type right here. This is an important one. I'm going to zoom in on this so you guys can see. I'm running a censored only, sensors required motor type setting. Okay, now censored only, sensors required is the setting I'm running because I'm running a censored brushless motor. Now there's multiple settings you can have. Smart Sense brushless means just it'll figure out if it's a censored or a sensorless on its own. Censored only means that you're only running censored. You're telling it don't bother looking for a non-censored setup. We're running a censored setup. Now censored only high turn, that's a whole nother situation. Let me go ahead and throw this down. Well, I also should touch on this. Yes, it does run brushed. So brushed reversing and brushed high power. So it's got a lot of different settings. However, when you click on censored only high turn, you'll get this. Warning, the use of this setting with the wrong motor and battery combination will cause damage to the ESC or motor. Only use this setting with motors that have a turn count of 13.5, 17.5, 21.5 or higher and do not exceed a 2S LiPo battery pack. The use of a motor that is not compliant with these specifications will void the warranty for both the ESC and the motor. So don't blow it on this. The reason I'm not running this is because I'm running a 3S, not a 2S. Otherwise, I'd be able to because this is such a high turn motor. So let's kill that right there. So what we're going to do is go back to censored only, sensors required. That right there is something I can run. Now you also have cheat mode. Cheat mode enable requires censored only mode, right? Now if I click on that, you'll see what it is. Using cheat, also known as Castle High Energy Advanced Timing mode, can cause higher motor temperatures and possible motor failure. When using cheat mode, you should set your mechanical motor timing to 0 degrees when applicable. Please read the help on each of the settings by clicking the blue question mark next to them. Be sure to understand these settings before attempting to use them as they can cause motor failure. Very important, right? So here's your timing. Boom, 0 degrees all the way up to 50 degrees. Pretty cool. Click on that, it'll tell you all about that, right? If you don't know about timing, then you should definitely read up on that. Me, however, I am not running cheat mode. There's no need for me to be running that right now. So, onto the throttle curve, flat. Just flat all the way across. I didn't do nothing to it, it's just flat. I normally will change it a little bit, give it a little bit of a curve, but honestly, I don't need to with this setup. It's just killing it. Brake curve, same thing, just flat. Software, running the latest, greatest, v1.5, and that's about it. Now, if you want to save it, you can. You can go to Save Print, save your current settings to a file, right, and then you can always reload those. I've been doing that myself, and I'm actually naming them as in specific tunes. That way I can reload those tunes into future setups if I want to. Really usable feature, actually. So there we have it, you guys. There we have it. And you go up back to the basics here. You can see, boom, my full forward, my neutral, and my full reverse settings are there. That's because I calibrated before I did my tune. And we're good. So then you would click Update, right? Like so. This pops up. Boom. And you are all done. Alright, so now you just come over here and you unplug your Castle link. That goes away, and then you plug your ESC back in the way it's supposed to go. One goes like so. Then we're good to go. And just to test her out, usually I'd fire it up and run it, but we're going to go ahead and just slap it back together. Just because I am familiar with this tune. Alright, now I got it all back together. can see, revolver's up in there. Yeah, should be good to go. So, there we go. A little bit of throttle, nice and slow. See, there's my dead band. You hear the motor slowly start to spool up. Alright. Yeah, buddy. See, she does nice. Crawl on the Logitech steering wheel. Just back her down. There we go. How's that for low speed control, huh? I think it's pretty nice. Pretty nice. Alright, you guys. So, hope that helps some of you out there with your tunes. Hope that answers some questions for you guys out there. Now you know about 18K switching, or I don't really know what you want to call it, but basically the quiet mode for the BLE Pro. And yeah, as you can see, for being a revolver, it's actually not that loud until I go full throttle. Then it starts getting loud. But anyways, you guys, I want to thank you for tuning in. I think I just knocked my mirror off. Yep, sure did. And I'll see you guys on the next episode, huh? You know what it is. Piece of chicken grease. Yeah.